Welcome back everyone to Life with Cloud. We are on our third deck review for Disney Villainous. The first one being Maleficent and then the second one being Captain Hook. Today, we're going to take a look at Prince John as our featured villain. Prince John plays very differently from Maleficent and Captain Hook. A quick summary or quick recap of Maleficent was that she is very spell-based and then has some allies to kind of support her, versus Captain Hook was very ally-based, having to vanquish specific heroes. And today you'll see that Prince John is neither. Prince John plays with gathering as many resources as possible, and a lot of his cards is based around that as well. As always, in these videos, we will be taking a look at the setup of the board, the villains deck, the hero and fate deck, and then some simple tricks and combinations within the deck on how you can achieve your goal as fast as possible. So let's begin. As we take a look at Prince John's board, there are one major thing we want to be recognizing is that on the far right corner where it says the jail, you'll notice that where the fate card traditionally goes, there's actually no action icons up there. This is a huge, and I say huge in quotes, advantage for Prince John, because if heroes are played here, he still has 3 actions he gets to take, rather than here at Sherwood Forest, Friar Tuck's Church, or even Nottingham, he only has 2 actions played if there is hero on the top side of his game board. Prince John's objective is quite simple, and I say quite simple because all you need to do is start your turn with 20 power. So depending on how many players you're playing with, that could be quite easy, right? So as you take a look at the villain cards that we're going to take a look at next, we will see what are some things that help us generate these power tokens. We're going to start taking a look at Prince John's villain deck by taking a look at all the items that are within his deck. We're going to start here with a card called King Richard's Crown. And so King Richard's Crown is if Prince John is at this location, all card costs are reduced by 1. And you have 1 copy of this card. The next one we're going to take a look at is Golden Arrow. When Golden Arrow is played, attach it to an ally. When that ally is used to defeat a hero, you gain 2 power. You only have 1 copy of this card as well. Next is we're going to take a look at is called Bow and Arrow. And so Bow and Arrow, you have 2 versions of this card. When Bow and Arrow is played, attach it to an ally. That ally gets +1 strength. When that ally would be discarded, discard this item instead. So not destroying your allies in battle or when you're vanquishing. And then the last of the items are Warrant. Gain 2 power each time a hero is played to this location, right? So definitely cards to help you generate more power tokens throughout the game. The next set of cards we're going to take a look at are his allies, and we're going to start off with Sir Hiss. If Prince John is played at Sir Hiss's location, you may perform 1 action that is covered by the hero at that location. Sick card. Next, we will be taking a look at Sheriff of Nottingham. Before Prince John moves, you may move the Sheriff of Nottingham to any location, gain 1 power if there are any heroes at this new location. Another way to generate more power tokens. Next one is Netzi. All allies at Netzi's location gets 1 additional strength. And then we have Trigger. All other allies at Trigger's location loses 1 strength. So be very careful about that. Next, we have 3 copies of Rhino Guards. Simple, 3 power to play, 4 strength, no additional ability, 3 copies of them. Last but not least, in terms of the ally, you have the Wolf Archers, and you have 3 copies of them. Their effect is, when performing Vanquish action, Wolf Archers may be used to defeat a hero at their location or an adjacent location. So the next set of cards that we're going to take a look at are the effect cards within the Prince John villain deck, and we're going to start off with Intimidation. Perform a vanquish action, but do not discard the allies used to defeat that hero. So very powerful card here. Next one, you have 2 copies of this, and it's called Set a Trap. You may move an ally to any location, and then after moving that ally, perform a vanquish action. Next, you have 3 copies of this card, and it is called Imprison. Move a hero to jail, and you get 3 copies of that. Last but not least, within the effect cards, you have Beautiful, Lovely Taxes. And you have 3 copies of these, and it costs 0 to play, and all you do is you gain 1 power for each hero in your realm. So another awesome way to generate power tokens. Last but not least, we are now taking a look at the conditions cards that are within Prince John's villain deck, and we're going to start off with Greed. During their turn, which is other player's turn, if another player has 6 or more power tokens, you may play Greed. You yourself gain 3 power, and you have 2 copies of this. Last but not least, in the condition card, it's Cowardice. During other player's turn, if another player has 3 or more allies in their realm, you may play Cowardice. Play an ally for free from your hand, and you have 2 copies of them. Moving on to the hero or the fate deck of Prince John, we are starting out with the effect cards. And so the first effect card, or the only effect card within this deck, is called Steal from the Rich. Take up to 4 power from Prince John, put it on any of the heroes that is in play. When that hero is defeated, return the power to Prince John. Next, we're going to take a look at the only item that exists within the hero deck, and it's called Clever Disguise. And you have 3 copies of this as well. When Clever Disguise is played, attach it to a hero. That hero cannot be defeated. At any time, Prince John may pay 2 power to discard Clever Disguise. So this was one of those cards to help burn or get rid of the power tokens that Prince John may start off with. Awesome. We are now transitioning over to the heroes within the hero/fate deck. And we're going to start off with Lady Cluck. Lady Cluck cannot be played or moved to the jail. Next, we're going to take a look at is Skippy. Wolf archers cannot be used to defeat Skippy. Toby, moving forward. When Toby is defeated, shuffle him back into Prince John's fate deck so he doesn't get discarded. Next, we have Friar Tuck. When Friar Tuck is played, you may discard all warrants from his location. Prince John does not gain any power from them. Next is Alandale? I don't know how to say his name actually, but all other heroes in Prince John's realm get a +1 strength. All right, getting to some of the main characters now. Maid Marian. When Maid Marian is defeated, find Robin Hood and play him at the same location she was defeated at. Of course, we're going to follow up with Robin Hood. The amount of power that Prince John gains from each card or action is reduced by 1 power. And then we have King Richard. While King Richard is in play, Prince John cannot play effect cards. Last, we're going to end with everyone's favorite, Little John. When Little John is played, you may take up to 4 power from Prince John and put it on Little John. When Little John is defeated, the power is then returned to Prince John. And so these are the 15 cards you have inside the hero deck. Now we're going to take a look at how these different cards interact with each other, what to look out for, and how to build your strategy for Prince John. We will start off with items within the villains deck. So we're taking a look at Warrant, right? So Warrant is played ideally at Sherwood Forest, Friar Tuck's Church, and Nottingham. And the reason why we want to play Warrant at these locations and not the jail cell is because we have to take a look at the wording of Warrant, which is gain 2 power each time a hero is played to the location, not moved to the location. So if we played, ideally, Warrant at the jail cell or the jail, your opponents, when they draw cards like Lady Cluck, Prince Richard, Robin Hood, or any of the other heroes, they would not play him or them at the jail because they don't actually block any of the action symbols that is helping you progress through the story, right? So by putting them at Sherwood Forest, Friar Tuck's Church, and Nottingham, anytime a hero is played to any of these locations, you actually start to gain 2 power. As we talked about placement of the Warrant in Sherwood Forest, Friar Tuck's Church, and Nottingham, if unfortunately your opponent draws Friar Tuck, this card, when it is played at any of the locations, will remove or discard the Warrant card from the play. When he is played or when Friar Tuck is played, you don't actually get to collect 2 power crystals from the Warrant's effect. In this current game board state, you notice that you have Sir Hiss at the very bottom of Friar Tuck's Church. Reminder, Sir Hiss's ability is that Prince John, if moved to Sir Hiss's location, you may perform 1 action that is covered by a hero at that location. Let's say we decided to move our Prince John token from Nottingham to Friar Tuck's Church. We now get to choose an additional action outside of play a card and move an ally. We can now take a look at what is underneath or what Friar Tuck was hiding from us. And you see we can either collect 2 additional crystal or take another play a card option. Definitely very beneficial for Sir Hiss to be played at a location that you want to maximize your either resource gathering or playing him at Nottingham here so that you can take advantage still of the resource gathering, but looking to fate your opponents if they're progressing quite nicely in their story as well. We now take a look at Sheriff of Nottingham, and his ability is before Prince John moves, you may move the Sheriff of Nottingham to any location and gain 1 power if there are any heroes at the new location. Ideally, if we take advantage of this ability, moving Sheriff of Nottingham, let's say he's currently at Friar Tuck's Church, and we moved him to, Sherwood Forest. There's no heroes at the top. We're definitely not maximizing our gain potential. If he was here already, remember his condition is once he is moved, then he gains that power. So we left him here at Friar Tuck's Church. Even with Lady Cluck there, we don't get to gain 1 additional power token. So ideally, we may be moving Sheriff of Nottingham here to the jail where Friar Tuck is played so that we can gain our 1 token. One of the more risky plays within Prince John and his playstyle is that we do want, at certain points, heroes to be played on our board. And the reason for that is we're looking for heroes like Skippy to be played, Friar Tuck to be played, and Toby to be played. The reason we say that is these are the cards that have little to no effect in terms of our objective to gain power tokens, right? So let's say we got super lucky and these are the cards that were played to us or the hero cards that were played on our top side of the deck. The combination we're looking for is we're looking to imprison these characters. So we're going to use imprison, which allows us to move a hero to the jail. So let's say we move Skippy to the jail, Friar Tuck to the jail, and now we're moving Toby to the jail with the 3 imprison cards that we hold. At this given point, we have 3 heroes we don't have to worry about that do not impact our power token gaining abilities. This is a great time to then use cards like Beautiful Lovely Taxes, which allows us to collect 1 power for each hero in the realm. So at this point we have 3, so you would get 3 for this card, 3 for the second card, and then 3 for this third card, so a total of 9 energy crystals. Now that's a great, little boost in power tokens. However, as more and more heroes get played, this gets a little bit more dangerous. Let's say if the next card that was played was Alana Dale. So Alana Dale by herself is quite weak, but all other heroes in Prince John's realm get a +1 strength. Let's say she gets played, no big deal. She doesn't impact herself, she only has a 2 strength, and all of these heroes are in jail, we don't have to deal with them, so not a bad board to have. Great for beautiful, lovely taxes. Now we get 4, 8, and then 12 power tokens, right? As it gets a little bit trickier, because as we're going down into the nitty-gritty of the heroes, let's say the next one that gets played is Lady Cluck. And Lady Cluck, no effect, but she can't be moved to the jail. So we don't necessarily need to move her to the jail because we've already used her in prison. So this is also kind of good for us, where now beautiful, lovely taxes gives us 5 for each card. So now you're at 5, 10, 15 power tokens, right? Now, if you were this lucky or fortunate to draw cards like this, then we are starting to be a little bit more careful when our opponents draw Fate, because now the next 4 cards will directly impact our beautiful, lovely taxes card. And the first one will be Maid Marian. So Maid Marian, when she is played, nothing happens, right? But when she is played, let's say here, it increases our token regeneration by 1. So we are now at 6, 12, 18. And this is a pretty good situation. Now, with Marian, her very unique skill or ability is that when Marian is defeated, find Robin Hood and play him at the same location. So if Marian is defeated, Robin Hood comes out, and Robin Hood actually has an effect that we don't want. The amount of power that Prince John gains for each card or action is reduced by 1. In the same breath, now beautiful, lovely taxes, Robin Hood negates his own effect of that. So even though there are 6 heroes in play right now, we only get still 5 per beautiful, lovely taxes because of Robin Hood's effect. So that means that even if the board is like this, Robin Hood negates one of them, so it's still 5, 10, 15, right? The next card we're taking a look at is this one here, which is Little John. And Little John takes 4 of our powers when he is put in play. So if he gets put in play, we lose 4 crystals or 4 power tokens. Even with the regeneration of beautiful, lovely taxes, we only get 3. So there is now a net loss of 1 with Prince John in play, unless if we use our resources to defeat Little John, right? The last card you don't want to see is King Richard. When King Richard is played, no effect takes place. We now cannot even activate beautiful, lovely taxes until we invest resources to vanquish King Richard. So this is the gamble with Prince John, is that yes, we do want heroes on the board, but it depends on what heroes are being drawn. We want to be aware of King Richard, Robin Hood, and Little John are the big ones that will impact our most in terms of our token regeneration. Maid Marian is okay. She is a little bit delayed in terms of stopping us. And then everyone else like Lady Cluck, Alana Dale, Toby, Friar Tuck, and Skippy, we can accept having on our board, having the ability to move them, using them in prison to the jail. They will help us farm up additional power tokens. If we're looking to vanquish some of the strongest heroes within the Hero of Fate deck, we are looking at King Richard, Little John, Robin Hood, and last but not least is Lady Cluck. These heroes have a strength of, King Richard has a strength of 5, Little John has a strength of 5, Lady Cluck has a strength of 6, and then Robin Hood has a strength of 5. And the most efficient way to deal with heroes who have a strength of 5 in Prince John's deck is actually to use a card called Rhino Guard, who is cost 3 to play, and then it has a 4 strength. And then we're pairing it with Bow and Arrow. So just a recap of Bow and Arrow. Bow and Arrow is play to an ally, Okay, so in this case, Rhino Guard. And that ally gets a 1 strength, so now he has a strength of 5 with the attachment of bow and arrow. When the ally, if ever, is discarded, you can discard bow and arrow instead. So in this case, let's say it's attached to Rhino Guard, and then we move over here to perform the Vanquish action on Little John. Strength of 5, strength of 5. Little John is vanquished. Rhino Guard, however, is not vanquished. Only bow and arrow is discarded. Now, let's say we next turn move him here. We take the action of move an ally. So we move him to Sherwood Forest. And then we take an action to play a card, which is another bow and arrow. Our turn comes around again. We move him here. We take advantage of vanquish. We vanquish King Richard. Once again, strength of 5, strength of 5. But once again, bow and arrow gets discarded. So we've removed 2 quite strong heroes, and our Rhino Guards are still in play, and we don't have to use additional resources to summon or to play additional allies. As we take a look with one of the combinations we had just looked at, which is the bow and arrow and the Rhino Guard combination. Let's say we had Rhino Guard here at Friar Tuck's, and we had bow and arrow, and we had King Richard in play, and let's say Little John in play, right? Let's say we're looking to vanquish them, right? Keeping in mind, our goal objective is to collect as many power tokens as fast as possible. One of the very efficient usage of this card is called Golden Arrow. When Golden Arrow is played, attach it to an ally. When that ally is used to defeat a hero, you gain 2 power. So let's say we played it onto the Rhino Guard. We vanquish, we come here. We vanquish King Richard. King Richard gets vanquished. 2 things happen. Golden Arrow gets discarded, but its effect takes place because we use the Rhino Guard, so we get to collect 2 energy crystals or power tokens. And then Rhino Guard doesn't get destroyed because of bow and arrow. And so we still are quite effective with our resources. The next card that we're going to take a look at is called King Richard's Crown. And so just a quick recap, if Prince John is at this location, all card costs are reduced by 1. So where do we want to ideally play King Richard's Crown? Many may think the jail, because there's nothing there, so we can always move Prince John there. But I would say probably one of the best places to play this card here is actually at Friar Tuck's Church. And the reason for that is because we have 2 options to play a card. So every time we moved our Prince John token, let's say from Nottingham over to Friar Tuck, jail to Friar Tuck, or even Sherwood Forest to Friar Tuck, wherever, we move to Friar Tuck, all of the cost of our cards now reduced by 1. So what does that mean? We can now play cards like Warrant for free. So initially they were 1, but now with 2 play cards, we can now drop 2 Warrant cards with 0 cost to our energy tokens, right? Other things that may be super beneficial could be cards like Set a Trap, where they also only cost 1, where we can now move an ally to any other location and perform a vanquish. So free vanquishing is always a good thing. And then, it makes things cheaper to summon or to play, such as Invitation now only costs us 1 token versus 2. So great positioning here because we get to maximize King Richard's Crown and its effect. And we have 2 options, as you can see here, the bottom left-hand corner and then the top right-hand corner there, to play a card, maximizing each time Prince John comes to Friar Tuck's Church. So let's take a look at our board, and we are currently stuck. We have the big Mama Jama, Lady Cluck here with a strength of 6. Value-wise, she is the highest in the entire Fate deck, and is blocking our generation of 2 crystals and 1 player card. Our board, we have a Rhino Guard here, and we played Wolf Archers here, right? At this point, we need to get rid of Lady Cluck because she's too strong. And so Rhino Guard has a strength of 4, as you can see there, and then Wolf Archer has a strength of 2, as you can see there as well. So they do have enough to defeat them. And Wolf Archer's special ability is it allows us to attack in adjacent location or support allies when they're trying to vanquish. So Wolf Archer and Rhino Guard can be used together to vanquish Lady Cluck. Now, we can actually use this card here called Intimidation. And so when we play this card, and it costs us 2 tokens to play, perform a vanquish action, but do not discard the allies used to defeat the hero. So when we play this, we get to vanquish Lady Cluck using Rhino Guard and Wolf Archer. So she gets discarded. However, these 2 cards remain on the field and do not get discarded, helping us once again maintain our resource usage, because we did spend 3 and 2 power tokens to put them on the field. We do want to save them. If not, we would have to spend additional tokens to replay them onto the field. Taking a look at our current game state board, you'll notice that we have Lady Cluck at Sherwood Forest, Rhino Guard at Sherwood Forest, and then Wolf Archer here at Nottingham. This is a quite deceptive board because Prince John himself is quite deceptive as well. The card that we're going to take a look at today, or right now, is called Set a Trap. And so Set a Trap is an effect card that when played, it allows us to perform a vanquish as well as move any ally to our location or to an adjacent location. So what does that mean? We are now moving, hypothetically, if we played Set a Trap, so we discard Set a Trap, Wolf Archer is now played over to Friar Tuck's Church, allowing him to take effect of its effect, which means it can attack any adjacent locations. Plus, we get to perform a vanquish action, destroying Lady Cluck this way. Quite deceptive, but quite simple. That's it. That's Prince John. And so, as you can see, it's a lot about collecting as many power tokens as effectively as possible, but also at the same time spending those power tokens as effectively as possible. So even when it's getting rid of heroes and using your allies, you want to keep those allies on the field for as long as possible as well. So I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch some of these Disney Villainous videos. As I track and look at the different views, there are people who are looking, so there is an interest here. So I do really appreciate that, guys. So we're going to continue finishing this box off for Disney Villainous, the original one. And then I have some nice surprises as well later on as well. So I hope everyone stays safe during this time. I want to thank you guys for checking the video out, spending some time with us today, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Bye for now.